What's up, my tokers, jokers, and smokers? We have a new segment out called "From Green to Grow" with my one of my really good friends. We just clicked, man. I'm down with everything that this clown is doing for sure. So my fellow tokers, jokers, and smokers, I introduce you to the Mr. Eric Asher. How you doing today, Eric?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Trying to stay medicated and elevated. You know, a lot of political bullshit going on as of late, but it is what it is. Staying focused, doing, work for the only color that matters right now, and that's green. But apparently gold. You want to tell us a little bit about what we can expect from this segment?
Sure. I have, since 2018, been teaching people about solventless cannabis extraction using a rosin press. They come in all different sizes. The one I have is a fairly substantial one at 30 tons. And the nice thing about this process is there's no chemicals involved. Okay.
Okay.
So you take your flower,
Look at that.
you put it in a filter bag, and then you put it between parchment paper on heated metal plates and
Okay.
put it under a bunch of pressure. And all of the medicinal value of that plant melts and leaves the plant material and comes out and gathers. And then
So
you
there's no
gather it up.
combustion that happens.
No combustion whatsoever. This
Okay.
is just heat and pressure, and what it creates is a dabbable concentrate called rosin, which is just like wax and shatter and any other concentrates that you've ever heard anybody doing as dabs. This is that kind of medicine, but there's a big difference. This is a single stage process. You're
Okay.
pressing buds and you're making medicine from that. Whereas all the other concentrates are a multi-stage process. Making bubble hash involves a bunch of different stages to get it to where it's usable.
Right.
This is instantly usable. The minute it cools down, you put it in the jar and you can start dabbing it right away.
Okay. Now, what about putting it in food? That's a question that's, I always
Okay.
ask about.
Sure. Rosin, just like any other concentrate, can be used in making edibles. You do have to decarb it,
Okay.
okay, because the process of extracting it does not heat it up high enough for long enough to fully decarb it. So
Okay.
plan on using it in edibles. You got to go through the decarb process. That's 245 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
That will get you where you need to be to use it that way. But rosin is primarily used as a dabbable concentrate
Okay.
by most people who use it. There are more. There are other ways to make edibles. Using just the plant material where you don't have to make it into rosin. However, the nice thing about this process is all of the byproducts are medicinally valuable. Okay, perfect example. When you press, you're left over these pucks. Okay,
Right.
there is a 5 to 8% gets absorbed by the puck. Okay, and normally that would be a waste product for like big commercial process. But
Right.
as a patient trying to get every penny's worth of value you can out of the dollars you spend at the dispensary, save these until you get a full jar. You put them in a slow cooker, crock pot, put it on low, get 2 cups of coconut oil, throw that in there so that it covers the pucks completely, and you let it cook off for 2 hours.
Okay.
Strain the pucks out,
Right.
and the oil that's left is highly infused with a lot of THC, and it can be used to make any kind of edible that requires oil, butter, or margarine or anything. It's very potent. It has great medicinal value, so you're not wasting anything.
No, you're not. I absolutely love that. If I can chime in right there, buddy, I absolutely fucking love that because as a chef, there's a lot of, you can tell the difference between a cook and a chef by a few things. One of those things is a chef loves to use the entire animal or the entire product. For example, let's say that you're you're breaking down an entire beef tenderloin for the filet mignon, the fillet cuts, and that's the dish that you're making. So obviously there's only so many fillets that you can get, but there's going to be a lot of scraps left over. Well,
Yep.
I mean, you use those fats and those scraps and grind them up and put them into burger, man. That's going to be a delicious ass burger right there. So it's reusing these products that are byproducts that, for all these years, more so in this case because cannabis wasn't legal and all of that, but all of these years we didn't know about, you know what I'm saying? It's amazing to learn new things like that. And I absolutely I have a few questions if you don't mind, but I absolutely look forward to experiencing some of this Eric Asher's, finest rosin, if you will. I was fortunate enough that our mutual friend, the Happy Hippie, just so happened to stop in Michigan and drop some of that off to me. And I was like, awesome, cool. And he's like, so do you have a dab rig? No. Do you have a nectar collector? No. How you going to smoke it? You know what I mean? I was like, damn. Yeah. So today, here after we get off the show, here in a couple of hours, while I'm doing my errands and I've got a few meetings to go to, all social distance, masks, the whole nine, I'm actually going to be stopping and getting that nectar collector you were just showing me, the one with the water in it. And so tonight's going to be interesting. I probably will go live on Instagram or something like that. It's going to be, see, I don't really dab. Like we were talking about way before, I dabbed twice in my life. I also died twice, so it's a new thing for me. And from what I understand, it's better smoking rosins and concentrates, but in this case specifically rosin, is a lot better for you than anything that you can ignite with combustion. You know what I'm saying? True. So I'm trying to move and that actually answers one of my questions, but I'm trying to move towards that for sure. Another question is this. So how does one go? I'm sure you're going to give us a little bit of a demo, but how does one go about being able to do this on their own? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. That's a really good question. Rosin is one of those things that anybody can do, but it's really hard to master. Okay.
Okay.
And a perfect example is when I first learned that there was a way to extract the compounds without chemicals was when I saw a YouTube video of somebody doing it with a hair straightening iron. Okay. And they were just leaning on it. Okay. And there were no bags. It was just bud and parchment paper and a hair straightening iron. And to this day, there are people that just prefer the simplicity of that. Okay. Nothing wrong with it. You get a really nice little yield. It's all dependent on the starting material.
Right.
It's a garbage in, garbage out sort of thing. The better the flour you start with, the better your rosin is going to be.
So I've got, and that leads me to my next question, because I've got some Cinderella 99 here, locally grown. My buddy grew it this year. He dropped me off quite a bit because I was going to put it in food. Obviously made him some butter. I'm going to test that tonight, buddy. I'm gonna take some parchment paper, real talk, and I'm gonna get. I know I have a hair straightener. I know she's probably got 5 of them. She don't even know that they exist anymore. I got a hair straightener. We're gonna use a hair straightener and we're gonna try and press it and see what yield we can get off of that. Because alongside the 2 variations of rosin that I got from Eric's Finest Rosin, y'all, to try out, I would like to try this out as well. You see my point?
Some advice in doing it that way. Okay. Don't put in more than about half a gram.
Okay.
Squish it down into as compact way as you can with your fingers. Get it just squished way down. Put the parchment on it. You don't see, that's the thing too. A lot of the hair straightening irons, you don't know what the temperature is of it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And if it's higher than say 250, you're going to be degrading the medicine too much. You're going to burn off way too many terpenes. So if you have the box or the specs on it, you know what the temp is.
Right.
You're looking for nothing more than say 220.
If you're looking for the temps for hair straighteners, and this is a method, we're not saying that we're not saying not to do this. We're saying to be educated when you do this to kind of go in. Absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this little nugget of knowledge. So I don't know if you know this or not, but women, they take care of their hair, and they absolutely will. They need to know everything. So it's it goes without question. If you're curious about what temperature that it comes out at, Google it. Nine
Yeah,
times out of 10, you're going to
yeah,
find it.
for sure. Like I say,
Sorry.
you don't really want to go above 220,
Okay.
225. Okay. Otherwise, you're just burning too much of the medicinal value away.
Right. And then from there, like how much pressure, like you know what I'm saying? Like walk
Well,
me
I
through
mean,
it. So,
it's one of those things. It's very individual depending on the type of press,
okay.
type of hair straightener it is, how much you weigh. You
Right.
know, you
Right.
want to put as much pressure as you can put without breaking the hair straightener.
Right.
Okay, and you want to hold that pressure for approximately 30 to 60 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, and after 60 seconds, once you lift off and open up the paper, you should see a ring of rosin around that smashed out
Right.
little bit of nug right there. That's how a lot of people got started.
Okay.
Now, they didn't start making purpose-built rosin presses until the mid 2000s, maybe is
Right.
when I first started seeing ads for nug smashers. And there's a bunch of companies. Okay, there's Chinese companies putting them out. There's U.S. companies putting them out. They're the top tier companies all put out excellent equipment. The problem is how they price it.
Okay.
Okay, you as a consumer go on to Mean Green Machine or Pure Pressure or Nug Smasher for that matter, and you look up their XL, that's a 20-ton press.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the price. Okay, look at any of their prices. It's
Okay.
ridiculous. They make it so expensive for such a simple thing. You can actually build them. A lot of people just are unwilling to pay for a professionally built press. They will go down to Harbor Freight. They will get an H-frame shop press, and they will buy a set of caged plates, and they'll have a press.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it won't be fancy. It won't be portable very much, but
Right.
it will be a usable press. And I've seen people actually do it with like and small anvils. They heat up the face of the anvils,
Okay.
and then they press. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to do it. Again, it's just
Right.
heat and pressure. How you apply that pressure is up to you.
So
But
here's my idea: take one like a straightening iron, and then take a C clamp. Put the straightening iron in it, and then just clamp it.
there's lots of people who do it that way, and they're on Instagram. Trust me, you'll see plenty of pictures of that.
Okay.
But in terms of if you're getting really serious about making your own medicine this way, okay, you need to get a purpose-built press. Okay? Again, everybody's got a different budget. Everybody's
Right.
got a different idea on how much they intend on pressing and everything else. But the ideal thing is you want to have enough pressure available so that you can do this at lower temperatures.
Okay.
Don't have enough pressure, you got to cook it at higher temperatures, which is why
Right.
Nug Smashers Mini, which is a 2-ton press, you got to kind of cook it at like 207 to 210. Whereas with a bigger press with more tonnage available, you end up being able to drop that temperature to 200, 195, 185. Okay, there's some science to it, but this is way more of an art because you're dealing with a variable plant. Okay, it changes batch to batch, it changes strain to strain. So having people that try and rely on timers and formulas and gauges, things like that all the time, they're not going to be able to get the best out of that plant. It takes human intervention. It takes you looking at what's going on, seeing what that rosin is doing, and being able to react to that in a timely manner. That's how you get the kind of quality that you need as a medicine.
Right. So I keep seeing the little the light there. Is that your new press?
Yes, this is.
Okay.
I just got this
Which one is that?
operational yesterday. This is my press is made by CRD.
Okay.
They're out of Oxnard, California, and this is a 30-ton drip tech press, which means that I'm going to move these lights a little bit.
Yeah.
It has the ability to tilt forward
Huh.
So you get a gravity assist and get the material off the heat as quickly as possible. Now, that only works with larger amounts,
Right.
okay? When I'm pressing today, I'm probably not going to be drip teching that, because with plates as large as these, there's really
Right.
going to be no need for it. It's all going to extract on. Um, this is not a starter press by any
Right.
means, okay? A lot of people that want to dip their toe in this to see if it's something that they really want to do, because it takes some dedication to do it well and do it consistently over time. So I recommend that they get a press. I still recommend a 20-ton press, just not a big one. Okay.
Okay.
20 tons of pressure allows you to do things like THCA mechanical separations and things that you can't do on smaller presses very easily. This allows you to do it a lot more efficiently.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of that, but once federal legalization happens and we have access to tons of keef and bubble hash, then I'll probably be pressing a lot of that too.
Right.
But I have made my brand Asher's Finest based on, I specialize in making flower rosin and getting the very best from flower directly. Okay. There's other ways to make rosin. There's bubble hash that you can press into rosin, but what you're doing is already pressing something that's a concentrate. So all you're doing is basically filtering and tempering it, which isn't all that crucial to its quality as much, or its medicinal value. The closer you stay to the parent plant, the better. So taking these buds, putting enough moisture back into them to initiate the extraction process, and then pressing it into a single stage full spectrum concentrate is really as close as you get to smoking the parent plant without combusting. So it's probably the most medicinally valuable form that you can get. Now, the further you process it beyond that point, if you winterize it to make cartridges, or if you process something into shatter or THCA, mechanical steps, you're not making medicine at that point. You're taking it away from being medicinal and you're isolating things out of it and turning it into more of a recreational product. See, I look at it as a continuum. On this side, you've got the parent plant and you've got rosin and finger hash and hand pressed hash. Okay. That's all very as close to the parent plant. Then when you start messing with it after that to winterize it or turn it into shatter and everything else, you're technically taking that medicine and turning it into not medicine now. Now, I have no problem with people using it recreationally, although personally I feel there is no such thing as recreational use. I think all use of cannabis is medicinal at some level, whether
I'm inclined to agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Believes it or not, you know. Yeah. But I try and stay as close to that parent plant because the medicinal value of that plant, we don't know enough about it to know what taking something away from it does to its value medicinally. So that now other people have differing opinions on this. This is just my opinion, okay, as an enthusiast and somebody who really wants to be a good steward of this plant. I think that this type of equipment is excellent. The company that makes this, CRD, they price these presses at about 1/3 to 1/4 for the same class in terms of the same tonnage and the same plate sizes. And most presses are not drip tech presses where you can tilt them. Some are, but most are not. And that is an advantage that all of his presses are. They're all designed with these tilt cradles. So they're very well built. They are user serviceable. If something goes wrong, I can get to everything that I need to replace whatever broke. Okay. And most of these other presses from these big companies, they put these covers around them. They don't want you to service them. They want you to send them back to them to warranty them. But they charge you the shipping for that. Isn't it just easier to be able to just replace whatever's broken locally and be back to working again, you know? So that's why
that makes sense.
Anything goes wrong with it, they back their product. and
Good.
they've been great. So that's why I talk about them, because they're good value, good bang for
Hey,
the
absolutely. It's like a chef with his knives, man. One person
exactly.
might like Victorinox, the other person like Kramer. It depends on the actual chef. It depends on the person.
Absolutely.
Without getting any more into the details and specs and stuff, let's see how it
I'll
works.
press some rosin.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. I'm going to have to move the camera a little bit so you can see things a little
Absolutely,
better. So I'm just going to try to. It's
absolutely.
right about
I'm excited to
here.
use my girlfriend's hair straightener to press some rosin tonight. She doesn't know yet,
Yeah, I wouldn't tell her,
but
because if you, well, except that she might say, "Why does my hair smell like weed?" And then that would necessitate some.
I should probably go out on the record first and say she has naturally straight hair, so she really doesn't need one. I
Okay.
don't know why she owns one. I've seen it like 7 times, so I don't think she's gonna miss it if it does. And even if it does smell like weed, our entire house smells like weed. So
Yeah. Well, all right. So,
I'd rather smell like a dispensary than a bar.
oh, absolutely. You're preaching to the choir about that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what we have here today
Okay.
is G Leaf Wi-Fi glue. Okay. This
Hmm.
is this is untrimmed flour, and it's pretty
I'm gonna
untrimmed.
go ahead and guess that that's probably Wi-Fi OG mixed with Gorilla Glue of some sort.
I don't know the exact lineage of
Okay.
this, but I can tell you that the THC THCA combination is 30.4%.
Oh. Okay.
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 So I got a quarter of this over at Rise Dispensary in Monroeville today.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a real good look. Let me get it close to the camera there.
It looks
Okay.
frosty.
Real frosty.
Yeah.
Got it rehydrated with some hydrostones. And I got the press warmed up to 200 degrees, got the parchment all in place.
So
I've got a,
what with the Hydra stones? How would a person get a hold of those and go about rehydrating?
well, they're made by the company Raw. And if you smoke
Yep.
weed, you know about Raw products. So you
Mm-hmm.
go on their website, you look for hydrostones, and you order them by the case. They're
Okay.
real cheap. They're basically just unfinished terracotta. So
Okay.
even if you really want to be cheap, go down to Home Depot or something, get a piece of terracotta tile that's not glazed, and cut it into pieces you can throw into bags of flour to prep them for pressing.
Okay.
Um, it works well, and it works quickly. You can get it rehydrated in about 2 hours max, where other
Okay.
methods take a lot longer. So, okay, so let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Sorry.
This is a filter bag. Okay. This is made by Nug Smasher. There's a lot of different manufacturers that make these bags, and they
Right.
come in different micron sizes. The biggest is 160. Okay, these are 120s, and they go all the way down to 37s, at least with Nug Smasher. And that's more for pressing keef and hash and processing that further to make hash rosin. The smaller the number, the smaller the hole. So
Okay.
120 microns is what I like to use for buds. Um, it's flexible enough to give me a reasonable chance of not having a blowout. The 160s are a little stiffer. And
Right.
that's just all stuff you learn just by trying it and seeing how your results go. And, it's a learning process. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that about it, because every new strain teaches me something. You know, it never
Well,
gets
this
boring.
is um, what's the word? This is paramount, because no one's done this research yet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they've pressed things, but they didn't really look at the terpene profiles and things like that. So it's like this is revolutionary, believe it or not.
Now, not all strains are great producers for this type of extraction. Okay, a lot of it has to do with the wax and lipid content,
Mm-hmm.
and what happens is people get discouraged if they're pressing a strain that isn't a huge gusher. Trust me when
Right.
I tell you, there are ones that are your average rosin production for most people that are doing it is 14 to 22%. A
Okay.
22 is really, really a good yield for most people. Okay. But when you start really kind of mastering this process, my average yields are 25 to 32%. And I keep a very extensive database, which is why I keep the records here, and then I transfer them into the computer later. Keeping track of how strains perform over time is important, because from batch to batch, if they change anything, the lighting schedule, the nutrient solutions, anything about it, or mess with the pheno, which happens a lot here in PA, they can sometimes make better flower, but sometimes they really screw up a strain. And that's happened here more times than I like to see, but it is what it is. Some of the best flower I've pressed comes from Pennsylvania dispensaries. I will admit that. It's expensive. It's way more expensive than it should be. But when you see the kind of quality that comes out of this kind of flower, it's going to make a believer out of you. So we'll load this thing up here onto the press. I'm going to get plates to close a little bit. Put a little bit of pressure on it. There we go. Get the lighting on here, and I shall move the camera just a little more. How's that?
Oh, that looks good.
Can you zoom in on that?
I cannot. Let me see. Yep, a little bit.
Okay, cool. So let me see if I can move this in a little more. This is going to be, get this adjusted a little here. We can't get it. I want to try to get it in line so when the plates close, you can still see what's going on.
Right.
So just bear with me for a second as I
absolutely
make those adjustments here.
I did notice that. So when a person makes rosin, let's say that you make up a decent yield. Let's say you got a good couple grams or whatever. After I'm done smoking a little bit, how do I store it? Just room temperature?
I keep most of mine at room temperature. Some people prefer to refrigerate it. Although a lot of people, there's a controversy about silicone jars. Okay. There's two kinds of silicone jars. There's the soft silicone that's very porous and it messes with the terpenes and it absorbs them and is really bad for rosin.
Right.
And then there's the ones that are platinum cured, which are very much harder and they are not porous and they do not affect rosin at all. But most people prefer glass. Okay, glass gives you two things. It's non-reactive and it allows you to use devices like a nectar collector directly into the jar without having to do an intermediate thing first to be able to consume it. So let me see how close I get this without messing anything up. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, so here we go. We're going to start pressing. Hope you can see it. I got this kind of bias towards the front of the plate so that it'll be easier for you to see what's going on.
I mean, we can see something in there. And that's a hand press, right?
Yes. This is a hydraulic hand pump, not a bottle jack. See, that a lot of times these presses will come with bottle jacks, and those are great. But for the kind of abuse I'm going to be putting this one through, it was decided that an actual hydraulic system was needed. And I prefer hand pumps to the electric ones because you have more control, more fine control.
That makes sense. Yep.
So right now I'm bringing the plates together very, very gently because you don't want to over pressurize it too quickly or you'll bust all of the plant material bust through the sides. It's called a blowout.
Right.
Okay? And in order to mitigate that, you just have to kind of ramp up to the pressure in a controlled manner.
Yeah, those lights are making it white, washed out.
Okay, how about that?
Oh, so much better. So much better.
You can see that?
Yep, I can see your clips and stuff now, yeah.
Fantastic. Now, can you see what's in there?
The puck, yep.
All right, cool.
So inside of that micron bag, that little puck, if you will, you stuffed an entire quarter, correct?
Yes. There's 7 grams of flour in there.
Okay.
and I'm
So
at
what's a
200.
typical yield for 7 grams, like with a good percentage of THC and whatnot?
Again, every strain's different. There
Okay.
really isn't an average. What I try
Okay.
to get is as close to a gram or better per eighth.
Okay.
So the
So you,
flower that I
yeah, okay.
gravitate towards is the more hashy strains.
Yep.
You know, your birthday cakes, your wedding cakes, you know, things like that. Okay, so let me try and get this paper stretched a little bit so it's easier for you to see what's going on inside.
Now the paper
And
you're using,
I'm
that's just
learning
some
on
kind
this.
of
This is parchment paper.
okay.
They're you don't want to ever use wax paper, or you're going to ruin your medicine. Okay,
Okay.
parchment
Noted.
paper,
Use
and,
parchment paper, don't use wax paper.
and I prefer Kirkland brand because for me it seems to hold up very well.
Okay.
Doesn't tear very easily. Okay, so now
Those of
I'm
you with a
starting
Costco
to.
membership, you're in luck.
Well, you can get it on Amazon too. That's right.
Like I said, Amazon is awesome.
You betcha. But now we're starting to apply some real pressure to it. And here comes the medicine. See it? See it oozing out of there?
Barely, like barely. If I
Well,
wasn't
that's.
staring at it for like the last few minutes, I probably wouldn't know, but I'm sure after more applied pressure,
Oh yeah, it's starting to come out now really well. Can you see that?
a little bit like
It's
it's
real
barely visible.
shiny.
Yeah. We'll probably see it most when it cascades down.
Well, it may not because
Okay.
that's not.
Well.
I usually happens when I get half ounces.
Okay.
But we'll see what this does. So
Yeah.
now I'm getting into the pressure itself now, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm applying it, you see it moving. You see it now?
Yep. It's like getting
Okay.
wider. Yes, from
Yes.
what we can see. Yeah.
Okay. So what I look for, and again, everybody does rosin pressing a little differently. This is kind of an artisanal sort of thing.
Right.
I watch the movement of it laterally as it comes out of the bag and moves across the plates. And when I see that start to slow down
Mm-hmm.
significantly, or you can now see it's at the edge here. Can you zoom in any closer?
That's as far as I can go, bud.
Okay.
Oh, you can though. Oh, that's so much better. I can see. Yeah, I can see it so much better now.
How's that?
That's perfect.
Okay, so what I look for here, and the reason I use these really bright work
Mm-hmm.
lights
Yep.
is because I'm looking for a changing color. If I
Yep.
see a changing color, that indicates I'm starting to burn off terps, and I pull it off the heat immediately.
Right. Right.
So I look for slowdown in production and or a color change.
Okay.
And I have to move around here to give it another.
So that's almost like I would say, from what I can see, like almost like a caramel color,
Yeah.
correct?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And you'll see it better when I pull it off of here.
So, from what I understand about rosin, the darker the better, correct?
No,
Oh,
no, not
okay.
at all. No.
Okay, so it's the other way around.
The lighter the rosin, the better the quality,
Okay.
generally speaking. There are some dark rosins that are great, but
Right.
trust me, if you go back through any of my content and look at
Mm-hmm.
any of the stuff I do, you see the best rosins are bright and clear colors. Okay, so now we got a real nice view. Everything seems to be moving now. What I'm looking for here are the bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Those bubbles start to get milky. I know that the last of the moisture that I introduced is leaving. That means
Okay.
it's done. So those are the kind of indicators I look for. As soon as I see them, I get a grand reveal. You ready for this?
That looks so good.
Yeah, this is some really,
And
really
now you're
nice.
starting to see those bubbles, right?
Yep. This is
Yep.
some really, really nice flour. Like I said, I pressed the strain many times. Okay. I do believe we are almost done. See the last of those bubbles.
Yeah.
That one there that just popped, that big
Yep.
one.
Yep.
Give it another one more time. And it's cloudy. I call that an alligator eye.
All right.
That's what I want to see. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh man.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is now.
So this next part's the question that one of my other questions. How the hell do you get it off there? Just scrape it off?
That's what we're gonna show you right now. So
All
let me
right.
move the camera right
Let's
over
do it.
here. This is for showing it off.
I've got a bunch of those little silicone mats and stuff.
Me too. They're great.
Especially if you're looking to do like, very miniature baking macaroons and shit like that. Like if you're only doing like a dozen or so, or less than a dozen or so, those are perfect.
Well,
I do fish on them,
let's
bacon fish.
see if I can get a more light on there for you. Is this making it easier to see or harder?
Harder.
All right.
Turn
So
that other light off that you have over it.
this one.
Yep. Yep, we can see it better now.
Okay. So
I can see it better now.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
angle this down just a little bit so
Sure.
you can see more of.
The money shot.
Yeah. There it is. There's all the work went into that. So this puck came out perfectly. There's no
No
blowouts.
blowouts.
Took it right to the edge though, because right there it was
Mm-hmm.
just starting to poke through. Okay. That will contaminate the rosin, and then you have to go cleaning it out of there, and you lose some of the yield. So it's something you try to avoid.
Right.
But I still get blowouts. Everybody who does this gets blowouts from time to time. So that goes in the puck. Now, by the time this puck jar gets filled, there's going to be 20, 30 strains in here. So the entourage effect of the edibles made from it are going to be an order of magnitude better than the stuff you get at
Yeah.
any dispensary because they're using one strain probably, unless
Right.
they say differently. So we took 7 grams of flour, and I'll do the top side first because it's the least impressive. So here's the tool I use. This is from Skillet Tools. Okay. I like this blade because it's beveled on this side. It's completely flat planed here. And as I drag it across, actually, is this the new one? Yeah. This is just exactly the same tool, just a newer one.
Okay.
So I take it with the flat bottom and I start scraping it across the material. Now, if
Okay.
another indication of how good it is how easy does it pick up?
Scrape. Right.
Right. If it smears and turns sappy and you got to kind of shovel it up, the quality is not great or not as high as it could be. Okay, that can happen if you cook it too long or cook it at too high a temperature when you're extracting it. It's all in finding that balance that gives you the yields you're looking for, but retaining the quality that you need to have medicine. Okay, that's the art in doing this, and being
Mm-hmm.
able to adjust to every individual strain, every individual iteration of that strain that you come across. This isn't something that people just get good at overnight. This takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication to get to the kind of level that me and a lot of other people are at out west. In Pennsylvania, there's a guy in Philly who's amazing. Philly Grown Solventless. He's on IG. You should check him out too. He does a lot of artwork with his rosin. I'm just a basic making medicine kind of guy. I'm not artistic, you know. But you see how easy this stuff is coming up off of here. Okay, it's
that's a good sign, right?
It's sticking to itself. Exactly. That's what you want to see. You want to see that kind of consistency, and it can get too shadowy.
I was about to say you got about 2 grams there, isn't it?
Well, we'll see. I got my scale here. We're going to weigh it up and show everybody because that's how I do my videos. Right. I don't hide anything from anybody, and I don't edit my videos. I do that so that you can rely on the information you're being given. You know? So, before I put it on here, I'm going to put it on here.
Right.
And I'm going to show it off to you backlit because that shows you how beautiful this stuff really is.
Just throw it right in front of the camera, man, on that little thing. Get it out evenly. Yeah.
Just spread it out. And
oh man, look at that.
Okay.
That looks fantastic. That looks so good.
Yeah, but check out how good it looks when you backlight it.
It whites it out on this end, but I can see the glow through it. Yeah. Oh, that looks so good, man. That's easily 2 Gs.
Well, now we're going to find out. Okay. Again, I never tried to second guess any of this stuff, man.
Right.
Because I can be wrong.
Oh yeah, I love being wrong, man. You know what I mean? Like,
so
that's how you learn.
I like using these silicone. These are the platinum cured silicone
ones,
containers.
right.
You see how shiny they are?
Yep.
These are the kind that are safe for use with concentrates and rosins. The other kind, the really soft ones, are not. So we'll put it on here. I love how it says hello. Can you see the numbers? Can you see it?
No, I can't, but the hello part's fantastic. Think about it back in the day when everything was black market and you had to weigh it out to get it to your boy, and you're like, hello. Like, welcome back to work today, guys.
You betcha. So I got my container teared. I'm going to get this kind of...
And it's not as sticky as I was thinking either.
Oh, well, it very well can be, and temperature has a lot to do with that. I keep this room at 65 degrees.
Okay.
So that it doesn't want to get too sticky and unmanageable, because it can be. Here we go. 1.516.
Oh, just over a gram and a half.
Yep. 1.516.
Now, here's a question. Because I am an avid flower smoker. Joints, bowls, bongs, you name it. Okay.
Yep.
Blunts. So, for a gram of flour, that's going to take me real quick. A gram of rosin, though, like, you don't need as much. Like, how long do you think a gram of rosin could last somebody that's new to this, such as myself, when consuming?
It's easiest for me. Oh, okay. Let me get this camera kind of on.
Sure.
We're all done now with that part of it. Okay. So when I was smoking flower, I have a very high tolerance, you know, and I was going through about, I don't know, quarter to a half ounce a day. Okay. Now, when you start making concentrates, it changes the entire equation.
Okay.
If you go to the dispensary and you buy an eighth of flour that you spent $65 on, you bring it home, you're going to get 3 joints out of that.
Yeah.
Right?
If you're lucky, yep.
Okay, so 3 joints is, to me, about half a day's worth of medicating.
Right.
Okay? Now, if you take that same eighth and you get anywhere close to a gram, like we got 0.75 out of each
Mm-hmm.
eighth, basically,
Right.
which is well within the good range.
Okay.
That 3/4 of a gram will medicate me 2.5 days
Oh shit. Okay.
for the same amount of money I just spent on
Mm-hmm.
something that would have lasted me half a day. I've just now tripled the value of it.
That's fantastic.
And again, I'm a heavy user
Mm-hmm.
with a high tolerance. And if I can make a gram of rosin last me 3 days, anybody can.
Oh, perfect.
And that's one of the reasons why, even though the equipment, the equipment here is definitely an expense that is on the front end of things, it'll pay itself off in literally weeks or a month or two. The return on investment in terms of savings versus paying dispensary prices for flower and then smoking it or dry vaping it here in PA, because we're not allowed to smoke flower, believe it or
Right.
not, in the medical
Right.
program here,
Jesus.
which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
To me, it's a way to make better medicine and medicine that lasts longer, and it's going to be economically viable as long as you've got a strain that is a good enough producer to get you enough medication per eighth
Okay.
to get you through. I mean, that's just a discovery that when you start pressing, you're going to start keeping records. And as you start seeing which strains are being better producers for you, you start focusing in on those. But if you have a particular strain that is just excellent for whatever ails you, and you're willing to accept that thing might only produce, say, 0.3 of a gram per eighth, that all
You're going to
depends.
invest more green for more gold. Exactly.
Exactly. So if you, it changes the equation if you're a grower versus just a consumer.
You're a grower or a shower.
Yeah, because honestly, in Pennsylvania, we're screwed. We don't have home grow.
Yeah.
So
No.
we're stuck paying mini bar prices at the dispensary. This is the way to extract every penny's worth of value from every dollar you got to hand over to the dispensary. That's what got me started doing this and showing people how to do it, is just out of, hey, as patients, we're all in this together.
We're all suffering the same.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, we are.
Now, I can't appreciate, the efforts that you and all the veterans have gone through. Again, thank you for your service. That's why we're doing this. We're helping people, man. Like you said, veterans or not, we're all, a human being at the end of the day. But veterans have it pretty terribly off, and they dedicated their lives to service only, to be told, hey, there's nothing we can do or anything of that nature.
Right.
Fortunately enough, though, we got you in our corner. We got you to help educate and advocate for us. I am excited tonight to not only, ruin something of my girlfriend's for the mean of science, if you will, but at the same time, I do want to jump into this, and we talked about it,
look,
you
and
can
blame me.
Oh, 100%.
100%. You just told her, hey, it's Eric's fault. Yeah. He's the one that told me about it.
Oh no, she won't care. She's a stoner like me, so she's like, yo, can we smoke this though? You know what I mean? Like, yo. Ooh, and that's how you do it right there. Boom. It don't take much. Unfortunately, I don't have any propane tanks like that, so I got to use my creme brulee torch, but it'll work.
It does. It just gets expensive. Butane is way more expensive than propane. And these are $5 at the hardware store to replace. They last like a month.
Right.
So
I might go pick one up, honestly. But yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'll probably do an Instagram or something like that, with my newfound toys and whatnot and those rosins. Now, questions, or real quick question. So rosin is like almost the same as like crumble, right?
Yes, all of those, anything that is in a jar, whether it's diamonds and turf sauce or live resins or crumbles, shatters, butters, anything of that nature is all under concentrates. not distillates. Those are a
Right.
different thing. The concentrates,
Right.
bubble hash, any of that stuff. This is in that class.
Okay.
It's just the top of the tier quality wise, as
So if I
opposed
take
to
one of
those others.
those nectar collectors that you just had, and I
Yeah.
used it on crumble in a glass jar, I can smoke it the same way.
Yep. Sure can.
Dude, that's amazing because one of my favorite growers here in Michigan, one of my really good friends, Gabby at Bad Girl Buds, gave me some crumble to try out, and I've been just taking it and putting it on top of bowls and stuff, which is absolutely fine. But you
Sure.
and you just get the flavors and some of the effects. But now that I have a nectar collector, this is going to change. I'm going to have a great Friday night.
Yeah.
You know?
Now there's some nectar collectors come with quartz tips, some come with titanium tips. And everybody's got their own opinion about why they use one or the other, okay? On mine, you can see it's a titanium.
Titanium.
Okay? I use titanium because with my lungs being as fucked up as they are from the Gulf War, you can get what's called silicosis from when if you notice people who use glass tips or quartz tips on their nectar collectors, after a while they start to get chazzed up just like bangers do, you know? Well, that's sort of vaporizing that glass or that quartz, and you're getting it in your lungs, and it can build up and cause problems called silicosis. Right. So I like titanium, even though it's got its own issues. You have to season it off gases when you first heat it up until it gets rainbow colored like this. When it's brand new, you got to kind of heat treat it before you start inhaling through it as a straw. Right. Right. So everything's got their own little caveats, but I prefer the titanium. I think they hold up longer, especially when you're heating them up with a propane torch, you know. Right. But they're great, and you can get different sizes. You get little ones like this. Right. This is a relatively small one, but you can get ones with huge, very ornate bubbler systems. I mean, big ones that have quick disconnects for their tips and different things. So you start Googling like high-end dab straws or nectar collectors, you're going to get inundated with pictures of things, and you're going to find something you're going to be like, oh, I need that.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. That's what I mean. You go down a rabbit hole with it, and it's like any other thing. Like I'm lucky I never got into collecting dab rings, you know, because my room would have no room.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing: most in the culinary world, most of those do it quicker, do it faster, whatever bullshit, you know, add-ons or new, they're useless. Okay, if you can't dice an onion, you should probably learn. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, they got those slap chops and shit, dude. That's making a lazy person. Okay, put the skill back into it. But at the same time,
except for sous vide. See, I like sous vide.
Sous vide. Oh, sous vide is not a crime. Okay,
I've got a sous vide machine. My wife got me for Christmas, and I have been doing lamb and doing boneless rib roasts with it.
You want to know what I infused last night for dinner?
Stuff, man.
I did last night. I did a pork carnitas taco with a jalapeno cilantro like slaw mix, and then I with that I did your basic tomatoes and a little bit of sour cream in the slaw mix. So you have to do it in there, but I put all of my loose leaves from my garden, if you will, you know what I'm saying, in there. Just chopped them up, just threw them in there. And then I infused a little bit of the olive oil in there and just put it all in this taco and just, you don't even know, man. It was so, carnitas, period, if done right, is delicious. You know what I'm saying? It can make some very amazing dishes. I did it on the flour. Oh man, it was phenomenal. I slept like a baby last night.
I'm still learning how to do a lot of different things with sous vide, but I watched that channel Sous Vide Everything on YouTube. Yeah. That guy from Brazil, he's amazing, and a lot of the things he's done I've replicated. See, my parents divorced when I was 10, and my mom married a guy who managed hotels, and he came up to managing hotels through being a master chef. Okay. He was born and raised in Belgium, went to Cordon Bleu in Paris, and then became a master chef and worked his way into management in hotels. He taught me how to cook. I never went to an actual school, but when it comes to roasting and cooking all types of meat, I am very, very adept at that. And I love doing it. My favorite thing is just rib roast, standing rib roast.
Oh, yeah.
Making them.
Oh, yeah. I'm a steak person. I'm a steak guy. Anybody that knows me, you know what I'm saying?
Straight up carnivore, brother.
Oh, yeah. I think anything past medium rare is a fucking, we need to talk about your life decision.
Oh, God, yes.
You owe that cow an apology.
Man. I want that
you know what I'm
steak
saying?
moving, brother.
Oh, yeah. Wipe its ass, cut its horns off, and hand it to me.
Yes, sir. Hit it with a blowtorch for 3 seconds on each side and hand it to me. Good. Yeah.
But, only so many people know that. But again, I don't see, and it's funny, real quick, you said something, you keep saying master chef, and that's absolutely fine, but I find it redundant, and here's why. The term master chef shouldn't exist because as a chef, you are always practicing, you're always learning. That's the point. It's a mentorship. I learn from you, you learn and pass it on and forward. A doctor is always practicing. That's why they call it a doctor's practice.
Lawyers.
You know what I'm saying?
Lawyers.
Exactly.
Rosin makers.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. You never stop learning, and that's why this never gets boring.
Exactly.
Every time you come across something you haven't seen before, and you can analyze that and kind of figure out what happened, or you found something that happened that was really unexpectedly good. Like the first time I got a huge yield was from African Thai. And that's a straight sativa. Generally, sativas don't produce as well as indicas on a rosin press.
Right.
That's due to the bud structure, and generally, wax and lipid profiles for indicas are greater than sativas.
Okay.
But African Thai is the exception to the rule. I reliably get from 1 to 1.3 grams per eighth pressed with that particular cultivar. It comes from Prime Wellness here in PA, and I have yet to press flower other than in Detroit, which is where I got my very largest single yield off of an eighth ever that anybody's ever seen. I got, and this was in 2019, I was up there for the Cannabis Cup, and I went over to Reef Dispensary on 8 Mile and picked up an eighth of Wonka bars, actually a quarter. I kept a quarter to not press, and when I did press on video, and I got 1.53 grams back from 1/8. And that's on video. That's on my YouTube channel. And that's kind of what got me on the map, because a 43% return on flower is unheard of. And if I hadn't done it the way I shoot my videos, as all one
nobody
shot,
would have believed you.
No edits or cuts.
Yeah.
Nobody would believe it. And so that legitimized my brand and what I do. And ever since then, I just keep trying to educate people. Look, there's no secrets to this. It's dedication. Anybody can make rosin, but to do it the way I do it and get the kind of yields I get consistently takes having the right equipment, takes having the right attitude. I look at these plants as having souls, and I'm kind of extracting the soul out of it. I'm bringing that soul forth, and that way you're getting the essence of that plant, everything that was good about that plant, and all you're leaving behind is cellulose and chlorophyll.
And a little bit of THC to make some cookies.
There you go.
Yeah, you know. That's fantastic, man. I absolutely look forward to this segment. I look forward to everything that From Green to Gold has to offer. Again, guys, this is something that we're going to do most likely bi-weekly, just to kind of put the word out there, answer any questions, look at different strains and things like that. We're learning, and we want to mentor that onto y'all as well. Eric's got an extensive background in this and extensive knowledge. Eric, thank you again. You know what I'm saying, for doing this for us.
Glad to be part of your. Glad to be part of the network.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. That's what it's about, to educate and entertain. Hopefully, you guys learned something from this, and whatever you did learn, again, Eric, man, keep it coming.
One more thing, if I can, real quick, my man. I am in Pittsburgh, in the Pittsburgh area, okay, and I do this for patients for free.
Okay.
That's day to day. This studio that I'm sitting in is also where any medical marijuana patient who has dispensary flower, they can bring it to me and I will press it into rosin free of charge. Okay, I've been doing that ever
You heard it
since I
here first.
started. That is a patients helping patients thing that I have never strayed from and never will.
All right.
So I get a lot of experience. I probably press more dispensary flower than anybody in Pennsylvania because I not
Right.
only press for me, but I'm pressing for 100 people a month. You know,
I love it.
so yeah, it gives you a lot of experience, and you get to learn a lot of things about what strains help people for what things. You know,
I love it. And
so
that's part
again,
of it, man. Knowing what we're
glad to
trying
be
to
part
cure
of the
here.
network, my man.
It's
I
perfect.
appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, man. We look forward to it. We'll most likely do it every other Thursday, at like, I don't know, between noon and 5. We'll figure that out. A lot of
Sure.
stuff being moved around in DDTV. I think I'm going to push back the Puff and Pass tonight till after we get the Nectar Collector. So I'll drop a little promo for people to see. But I think it would be
Yeah.
great. I mean, if you're cool with that, I'll actually like review the rosin on camera.
Please do.
100%.
I
Let's
would
do that then.
appreciate it if you do. Now, understand this is not just one strain. This is from my infinity jar. This is a
Oh.
special blend that I have created out of 7 different rosins,
Oh.
okay, that I have pressed. Some of it came from Detroit, some of it came from Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and the ratios I will not disclose, but this is not your average rosin,
Okay.
okay? It will be complex, and I think you will
Which
very
one, the
much
lighter one
enjoy
or
it.
the darker one?
Huh?
I
Oh,
have
no,
two
the
different
lighter
shades.
one.
The
The
lighter one?
lighter
Okay.
one.
Okay.
The darker one,
Absolutely.
yeah, the darker one is a single,
Okay.
but yeah.
Absolutely,
So
man. I
enjoy
look
that,
forward
brother.
to it. You know what? I'll actually hit you up when we do Puff to Pass, and we'll have you come on as a guest if you don't mind.
Sure.
And
Are you
then
going to be
we'll
doing
shoot.
that like on Instagram Live?
Oh, we'll do it from here, and then most likely on Instagram as well.
Oh, okay.
So I can add you to it. We'll figure it all out, man. But yeah, I'm actually gonna swing out right now, go to my meetings and get what I got to get done, and go scoop that
Cool, bro.
nectar collector on, and hit that rosin. So, yeah, tune in tonight, you guys, to the Puff and Pass. I'll probably put the link up. I'll probably do it about no, about 6. We'll do it about 6, a little bit later, but I got a bunch of stuff I got to go do, some meetings and stuff. Plus, I really want to try this rosin and let you guys know. So we'll do it about 6 o'clock, and yeah, I'll see you guys there. So all my tokers, jokers, and smokers, make sure you stay high, stay elevated, stay happy. I'll see you at 6. And on behalf of Mr. Eric Asher, you guys have a good afternoon and good evening, y'all. Peace.